How's it going, YouTube? Coming in today with another video, and today, guys, what the radio is going to be a very special collab for myself and Outofcharacters. Definitely go and check them out down below in the description. I appreciate you so much for joining me in this video because this is going to be a very interesting topic, and you'll see their part later. This is going to be something that I feel very deeply about, and that's trading and how it's really just deteriorated in the game. And this is something that I don't really see brought up on platforms at all, which is kind of crazy because the amount of players that I talk to that have negative experiences time and time again with trading, especially lately, is quite alarming. And that's something that I want to bring up today. I hope they enjoyed today's video because it's quite the topic. Definitely go ahead and check out my sponsors down below at Gem, Cloud, Arla, Imperium, Dragonshield, RAW, MainPhaze, or Grimoire. Also, subscribe to the channel so we can hit 30,000. That's our current goal, and I cannot wait to get there. So, just to start off, we have YuGiOh selling card game. And, you know, this is what it feels like more than not, right? Because you have so many opportunities to buy cards from backpack vendors, other players. Hi, Hazel, how are you? You guys might see Hazel in my videos just because she's around and she's very curious. So, she's really cool though. Yet, buying can be very beneficial from backpack vendors, from local players. You can get your cards from stores. You can get your cards online. There's a lot of ways to get cards. But rarely does it seem like it's ever trading, at least as of late. I feel like this discrepancy is specifically just because of pricing versus the secondary market. Now, the secondary market is lucrative, and you can make a lot of money just buying and selling cards. And that's what a lot of people do. Rarely are you trying to trade where people are just trying to buy for a percentage. And we'll talk more about percentages later. But the pricing doesn't really outweigh what you can do with, like, side events and getting these expensive playmats and then, like, offloading the playmats, or if you get, like, a prize card, selling the prize card. And there's not, like, a reason to trade at that point, right? Especially since cards get reprinted, and then once they're reprinted, people are just, like, buying in bulk these megatins or these reprint sets, right? And then the value of the set goes down so far that rarely do you need to trade for something that's just, like, $1, right? You're just like, oh, I'll just buy that for $1. So since, like, our pricing isn't that great, it's definitely affecting heavily on the secondary market, where the secondary market becomes way more lucrative because there's not a whole lot of drive to play the game at the moment if you're trying to make money, which should never be the reason for your hobby, because it is a hobby at the end of the day. And that's where it kind of hurts me to not see trading anymore, because trading was always a really good time, but somewhere along the lines, trading just kind of stopped. And I'm sure that you've all seen the same thing where someone walks up to your table full of friends and they're like, hey, do you guys have this card? And, like, everyone's just kind of like, you know? And I don't like that. It's just, like, a very pompous attitude for no reason. Like, people are just trying to find cards, right? And I don't feel like that's something that should be looked down on. And it feels like it is now, which is kind of strange. But, you know, that's something that we're seeing a lot of currently. One of the larger issues right now, I feel like, is the fact that pre-sales and buying cores online just kind of ruin trading. Because it kind of goes back to you're not really wanting to trade for anything when you can just, like, pick up an entire core. Why piece it out when you don't have to? And I think that's a huge thing right now, where it's like, if somebody offers you a core, that's something where you're very well likely to just grab the core, right? You're not going to trade for individual monsters where you can just, like, pick up a playset of each all at once, right? And that's something where maybe you'll see, like, trade, and then you'll see, like, cash on top of a trade if it's not always going to be, like, one-to-one. But there's always someone in a trade lately, it feels like, that's trying to benefit from the trade, right? Trying to be, like, up in value. And I don't love that either. But I feel like a lot of times right now, these pre-sales and, like, the buying of the cores and people buying cases, right? And they just kind of get everything, and then they're just, like, trying to make a buck back, so they're trying to sell it because everyone has this, like, really bad sunken cost fallacy in this game, which is, like, really weird to me. I've never really understood that. It's just like, you're playing the game, enjoy the game, buy the cards that you want to buy, right? But there isn't really a reason to be trading when a lot of the times you can just kind of pick things up. And then once these sets are just so low lately, you just know that your cards are going to be low in like a month, right? So you just wait and then buy the cards then. Now, the other thing to keep in mind right now is that everything in the game is kind of weird around having high valued items. We've seen multiple card shops get broken into lately. People have jobs at events to just steal items. And if you don't believe me, ask a judge after an event how many items were stolen that event, right? Like a big event, it's a big number. And some people, they go to events and that's their whole thing, is they just try to steal. That's why when I sit down, my backpack is around my leg, and then I put my leg through like the handle that goes over your shoulder, just so I know that my bag is always secured underneath me. And, you know, it's really hard to trust people nowadays. And I mean, like, this clip speaks for itself. And, you know, this is something that I'll post down below in the description for the full video. And, you know, shout outs to the person who posted this, because it's a very realistic view of what it's like to just, like, have your binder out, right? If you're looking at their binder and they're looking at your binder and you're just, like, looking at the cards, your head's down, they could just do that at any point in time. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I can't find this card. You're like, weird, it's not in my binder, right? So it gets really awkward with trading when, like, nowadays it's just hard to trust. Let's take a moment to hear from Outofcharacters.
If you don't know me, I'm Outofcharacters. I've been going to locals in Northeast Ohio since around 2018. This is kind of a hard topic to point towards objective sources to. Thanks for that, GGYGO. So I'm going to discuss my personal experience with trading. To keep it a buck, I've never been that into trading cards. I think I said that right. Most of the cards I use have been acquired through Facebook groups, TCG Player, or r/YuGiOh Marketplace. I don't collect expensive printings of cards, but I do like making sure I own playsets of every cheap staple, so pre-COVID I mostly made trades with cards in the $1 to $5 range. Before locals shut down, it was pretty common for people to want to see my trade binder full of these inexpensive cards and offer trades in exchange for something in their own binder. If a deal couldn't be reached or there was a disparity, people would pay to cover the value, but buying cards with money was rarely the first choice. I took a break post the January 2020 slaughter ban list, and then COVID happened, and I returned to Yu-Gi-Oh! In early 2022. When I came back, the landscape was completely different. Very rarely would I be asked for my trade binder, because the people looking to trade were primarily interested in expensive cards like Starlights, Ultis, and Collector's Rares. To me, it seems like Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has fewer players after cheap printings of staples, and I wanted to examine some possible reasons why that might be. To begin with, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a pretty wide disparity in the value of its cards. Unfortunately, staple main deck cards are often introduced as secret rares in the TCG, with 3 copies of them needed for most decks.
A $128 secret rare.
As they get aggressively reprinted in the megatins after a year of viability, their price begins to fall off. As a then casual player, I used almost no staple cards that had no reprints until 2023, when I began to play branded variants, and picked up a playset of Triple Tactics Thrusts. The cards in my binder that are in that $1 to $5 range have dozens of reprints, and are so old that many of them could barely be considered staples in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards like Ash, Ogre, Valor, and Called by the Grave are so common that if you were an established player, you had these cards already, and had no reason to trade for the commons or supers of them that I own. My impression is that the crux of this issue is twofold. The first reason is because of Yu-Gi-Oh's current player base. I think this is a symptom of Yu-Gi-Oh's new player problem, an issue that many Yu-Gi-Tubers have discussed before. New players are the group who might want cheap staples the most, and I just don't see that many of these types of people at locals anymore. Established players don't need a set of common Ash Blossoms, but they might be interested in QCRs if you could get them a good deal. This leads directly into the other main motivation: money. It's always money. One of the important perks about trading is that since you're not paying for shipping or labor, you can get cards for a percentage off what they might cost at a local game store or online. This incentive makes it much more appealing to go through the hassle of trading for expensive cards compared to commons, since you could save significant amounts of money instead of just a couple of cents. However, the pool of people able to make these trades is pretty small due to the price of these desirable cards, making it rare to see someone purchase them, much less using cards of equal value to trade. Both of these factors make trading way less common at the local level, relegating it to those more invested in the game as a whole, and with the disposable income to do so.
Now, I don't necessarily find backpack vending to be a bad thing. I know quite a few that are very reliable, and it's really nice to be able to know that you can find your cards from them. But the problem is when you have people that aren't doing that, right, and they just want to, like, make a quick deal, and they're just like, oh, 70%, right? Like, that's just insane. Because, like, that's so low. That's, like, a good vendor will offer you 70%, right? If it's from another player, it should always be 80 to 85% no matter what, right? So hearing people just kind of like say vending prices to you is kind of cringe, and it kind of eliminates like the mood to trade immediately, right? They're immediately like 70%, right? I'm just like, I'm done here. Thank you, right? It's just not great. Just people trying to undercut and juice players, I'm not a fan of it, and it just kind of wraps around the entire thing with trading right now, where it's just like in a really weird spot. And more so, my last thing on this is something that you've all heard, and when you're doing a trade and someone's like, oh, well, I have to find something to cover the dollar. Like, who cares, right? Like, that's something where you're trading if it's $1 difference, right? Like, I could understand, like, a couple bucks or something, you want to find something else, but, like, over $1 and, like, complicating a whole trade. I've seen trades fall through. I've seen sales fall through over $5. Like, it would be, like, 115, and somebody goes, I'll do 110, and they'll be like, I'm good, right? Like, it's... Oh my god. Not even just trading, it's like buying and selling too. I feel like it's all just gotten like everyone wants to one up the other person in some way, shape, or form, or they don't feel like they've done right by that trade or sale. And I think that is just like such a heinous thing for the game to get to. And I feel like this is like the mentality that also hurts new players coming in, which is a huge problem. And I hope we fix this, because I still like doing trades. I think trades are fun, right? Something where you get to look at someone's shiny cardboard and find something that you could possibly use, or something that you just think is cool, right? And then make a trade. And that's how you actually like meet people, right? I met many people just trading. I'll walk up to random groups of people at events and be like, hey, what's up, right? Just because like I like meeting new people and talking to new people about the game. So I just hope that there is a time where this kind of like changes back, and then there's a lot more trust, because right now I feel like that's the biggest issue. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Definitely go ahead and check out my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Go ahead and check out Out of Characters down below in the description, and also the link to the full video of the Hard to Trust slide video. Thank you so much, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll catch you all in the next video. Later.